There's power in the factory, power in the land, power in the hand of the worker. But it all amounts to nothing if together we don't stand. There is power in our union. Now the lessons of the past will learn with workers' blood.
Hello everyone, welcome to the April 4th Coalition Show. This is the February 9th, 2026 show. We're lucky to have our guest Mark Rondo here, a North Adams native. We've been friends for a long time. I went to school with your sister. I knew your father when he lived up on Hooker Street. Yeah, so he's from the old neighborhood. But Mark, besides his regular profession, he's also president of the L. Nelson Food Pantry and was one of the founders of it. And also you were a member of the Interfaith Action Committee, which brought about the L. Nelson Food Pantry. The April 4th Coalition's mission statement is, we are for workers' rights and collective bargaining rights, and we're against tax breaks for the rich and corporations who ship our jobs overseas. We endorse all the articles of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, but as is our custom, we focus on Article 23. So we're just going to read Article 23. I'm going to do 1, Mark's going to do 2, I'll do 3, and Mark's going to do 4. Number 1, everyone has the right to work, to free choice of employment, to just and favorable conditions of work, and protection against unemployment.
Everyone without any discrimination has the right to equal pay for equal work.
Number 3, everyone who works has the right to just and favorable remuneration, ensuring for himself or herself and his family and her family an existence worthy of human dignity and supplemented, if necessary, by other means of social protection.
Everyone has the right to form and join trade unions for the protection of his interests.
Thank you, Mark, and thank you for being here. And Mark, we also crossed paths too with Greylock Together. We've been going to some of those meetings, and maybe there's a standout at City Hall in protest of what the administration has been doing, and especially what's been going on in Minneapolis. I came across a music video by Ben Grosscup from Northampton. It was done on January 31st, 2026, and the name of the song is "Come Out Ye Cowards Ice." And I just thought that I just had to share it with you. The last 2 weeks we showed Bruce Springsteen's "The Streets of Minneapolis," but I'd like to show this local person doing this song. So let's watch this video and we'll have a little bit of reaction to it after.
Let me tell you about the song we're going to sing. It's number 1 on your lyric sheet. It's called "Come Out Ye Cowards Ice." Yeah! This is based on an Irish fight song, "Come Out Ye Black and Tans." The Black and Tans were a paramilitary group from 100 years ago, organized by the British Empire to inflict death, injury, and humiliation upon the Irish population that was brutally occupied by the British Empire, and in many ways still is. We bring this song into the present to highlight the ways in which ICE functions as that same kind of paramilitary force that metes out repression against the people. This is "Come Out Ye Cowards Ice." I live here on a Powderhorn Street, where ICE agents walk the beat, with a signing bonus $50,000. When we saw those vicious goons steal our neighbors from their rooms, we went out into the streets and yelled and hollered, "Come out, ye cowards, ICE! Steal, peel away your grim disguise. Tell your wife how you take orders from the fascists. fascists, and how the city you betray made you run like hell away from the white and snowy streets of Minneapolis. Won't you tell her how you stood in the way of Renee Good? How she tried to leave, but you were too afraid of her. How she did just what you said, so you shot her in the head for the crime of standing up for her own neighbors. Come out, ye cowards, ice! Come out, ye cowards, ice! Peel away your grim disguise. Tell your wife how you take orders from the fascists, and how the city you betray made you run like hell away from the white and snowy streets of Minneapolis. I bet you felt so big and strong when Nurse Pretty came along, and he tried to shield a woman you were beating. 6 agents held him down, and you shot him on the ground and stood around to watch him as he lay there bleeding. Come out, ye cowards, ice! Peel away your grim disguise. Tell your wife how you take orders from the fascists, and how the city you betray made you run like hell away from the white and snowy streets of Minneapolis. Come, let us hear you tell how you serve the country well, gassing children in their schools and cars and houses, and how the nation's great distress can be solved by DHS. If you repress the rage your cruelty arouses. Come out, ye cowards, ice! Peel away your grim disguise. Tell your wife how you take orders from the fascists, and how the city you betray made you run like hell away from the white and snowy streets of Minneapolis. Come out, ye cowards, ice! Peel away your grim disguise. Tell your wife how you take orders from the fascists, and how the city you betray made you run like hell away from the white and snowy streets of Minneapolis.
Well, thank you, Ben. And I don't know if I mentioned that was Northampton, Massachusetts on January 31st. Any reaction to that?
Well, it's a tough act to follow. It's a pretty rousing song.
It is. I just, you know, he talks about the ice, and just think of the money. I mean, I'm speaking this in reference to the L. Nelson Food Pantry.
Yeah.
In that budget that big beautiful bill they called it, I think they gave $45 billion to set up these, they call them internment camps or whatever, they're concentration camps. But I mean, what could America do with $45 billion to feed people? You know?
Yeah.
I mean, they call it the Department of Homeland Security. It makes me a little upset. I graduated from Drury High School. We used to call it DHS.
Yeah.
I don't like them using that term, DHS, but the Department of Homeland Security, you know, I just think it has to be scrapped and let's take a look at what we're trying to do. I mean, the important thing is we need to feed people. They're human beings. I don't care.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Now I think I noticed that you have a brochure for the L. Nelson Food Pantry, but you also have one in Spanish.
We do, and we're going to work on getting one in Creole also for our Haitian neighbors.
So you're seeing a lot of the people in North Berkshire that are hungry, North Adams area. They come to the pantry on a regular basis.
Right. We serve North Adams, Clarksburg, and Florida regularly, and occasionally people from Adams work in North Adams sometimes we'll give them their food too up here. So yeah, we're busy, and that's who we serve. And we serve some Spanish people, but we're concerned that if you know, they're in hiding or whatever, we can work out some way. We don't want to say too much because,
Yeah.
but work out some way to help them. But
It's wonderful what you do, and it has the name Al Nelson, and I remember Al,
Yeah.
and he was a pillar of this community. Unfortunately, his wife Ann passed away a couple of weeks
yeah,
ago.
yeah, she did.
But Al was such a fixture. I first met him when he used to accompany Bucky Bullitt to all the basketball games and do the announcing at the of the basketball games.
Yeah.
When I was in high school. But then I met Al as an adult. He was the executive director of the Northern Berkshire United Way.
That's how I met him too. But I told him when I met him that when I heard his voice on the radio when I was a kid, so I knew his voice before I ever met him.
Right, and he helped. Like when we wanted to start Habitat for Humanity, he was one of the founding members of Habitat for Humanity.
Yeah.
But he opened up his office, and we used his office for the original meetings, you know, on a regular basis for the board of directors, and he was quite a man. And you know, Martin Luther King Day, you know, he was very active in starting that celebration. But you and he set up the Interfaith Action Committee, and what was that?
Well, it happened actually in 2010. The coalition, Northern Berkshire Community Coalition, when Al was the treasurer for a long time and on the board, they had a meeting, a forum about faith in the community, and Al and I used to always sit together at those meetings because we became fast friends because of football and baseball and things like that. So we talked to some of the clergy and said, well, why don't you do more interfaith stuff? Because we were interested. And they said, well, why don't you do more interfaith stuff? So Al and I got brainstorming. We came up with the name Interfaith Action Initiative, and we started looking for a project. And we had different people come in and talk to us, and then it came to that we needed another food pantry. We needed a food pantry in North Adams because the BCAC one needed to close, basically.
Now that's the community, Berkshire Community
Yeah,
Action.
at that time they were on in the high, you know, up in the
85.
And for
I
what
think they're still there.
Yeah, but for whatever reason, they couldn't run it fully or whatever. So with their help and with the Food Bank of Western Mass, we opened a food pantry at 43 Eagle Street at that time. That's that long, thin building where the space where there's now a gallery. We're next door now at 45 Eagle Street, which is a lot.
It's quite an operation. You have quite a crew. Now, Al was like a backbone there, and Steve Green also.
Oh, yep, Al, Steve Green. By the way, we have an open house this Saturday. Well, by the time people see this, it'll be too late. But on this coming Saturday, we're having our 15th anniversary of the food pantry, actually, an open house in the morning. But yeah, it's Al, Steve. We had a lot of different people, and a lot of them, Henry Bounds, a lot of people who helped us out at that time. And Mark Lincourt, who people might know him, he was our first food. Then he went up and got a job at the food bank and moved over
to Hatfield.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wonderful what you do. And you can have people volunteer there. I know my wife volunteers as an intake person, right?
Yeah.
There's all sorts of jobs that you can do at the food project if you want to help.
Yeah,
and you can even deliver meals too.
Oh yeah, we do. In fact, it's an all-volunteer operation. Always has been. We've never had any staff, paid staff. I don't know if we'll be able to do that going forward, but we have like 50, 60 volunteers, and you know, we're open every Wednesday from 10 to 2, and then people call on Wednesday, we'll do deliveries. Now, I don't usually talk about deliveries publicly because we really want it. If you really just can't get there, we'll do a delivery. But if you can get there, we prefer that you come to the pantry on Wednesdays.
Yeah, it's important, and it's really a lifeline for a lot of people. Now, we also had some discussions too at another meeting. This is outside of the food pantry, outside of your job. I think we were standing out at City Hall on a Saturday.
Yeah.
and you were very frustrated. I have a copy of the Constitution. I think you brought one too.
Yeah, I did.
You were very upset about what's going on and how our Constitution is not being abided by.
Right. And, well, yeah, I agree with you. You know, I don't think it makes anyone a left-wing radical to just, you know, see all these different things like due process and the Emoluments Clause and freedom of speech being impinged on. And, you know, that's how I feel. A lot of things are being impinged on. And, you know, I don't know of any time in our history when we've had a masked police force running around. Our local police don't have masks, our judges don't have masks, our state police don't have masks. So things like that. I mean, as a private citizen, and not speaking for myself, I'm speaking just for myself as a private citizen, I just think our rights are being impinged.
Right, when you mention left-wing radical, I want to draw exception to that because I wrote a letter to one of the local newspapers because, you know, I was interested once about the word conservative in the definition, and I had this huge dictionary up at the college at MCLA. I used to work in the reference section there, and so I looked up conservative in there, and then it went into this long discussion. But at one point, it took quotes from people too, and it said people feel most conservative after a large meal. If you've had a big meal and your stomach's full,
Yeah.
you tend to be pretty conservative about what you want to do. And and I think that sort of it's not a left-right thing. It's like you know, people might label me as left-wing or whatever, but I kind of think I'm kind of conservative. I mean, I believe in the Constitution.
Right.
I believe in people's rights. I believe in the freedom of speech. I believe that, you know, if we look at our ancient texts, whether they be Jewish, Christian, Hindu, whatever, it all talks about you have to feed the people.
Yeah, that does.
You know,
And welcome the stranger, take care of the widow and the orphan, feed the hungry. It's in the Old Testament, Isaiah, the prophets, New Testament, Jesus. You can look it up. I mean, I sometimes wonder what Bible people are reading when they...
right. So, yeah, I see these as conservative issues that we have to take care of us, and especially, like, say, someone's an immigrant. It's someone that we should welcome. And also, I think it's a very conservative issue to believe that money doesn't equal speech, you know.
Right,
even
yeah.
though the Supreme Court might say that, speech and money aren't the same thing. Another thing that about the interpretation, like they would say I'm a radical or left-wing or whatever, I think I'm very conservative. I don't believe a corporation is a person.
Right, yeah. I see. I hear you.
I think those are all conservative ideas. I don't want to treat the corporation as a human being, as a person. I mean, we're people. We know how to interact. I mean, human beings, they have to eat. They have to make a living. They have to have, like when we talk about, you know, Article 23, that they should be, you know, you have a job, but you have the right when you're working to make an adequate income, so you don't have to go to a food pantry to supplement your income, or you don't have to get SNAP benefits, you know, because when people are getting SNAP benefits and they're working, essentially our government is financing or providing welfare to corporations so they don't have to pay their employees enough for them to survive. It's a subsidy to corporations. And so I don't see that as a radical idea, that, you know, the government shouldn't be subsidizing multinational corporations to properly compensate their employees.
Right. Oh, I agree. I mean, I think the way we talk about these things has been so twisted out of whack that what's radical is now so-called conservative, and you know, like you say, just this basic stuff, you know, basic American stuff, is considered off the rails, and I think it's gotten worse in recent years with the things are going the way they're going these days. But
right, I think back to like Your father and my father's generation, I mean, they made a lot of sacrifices living through the Depression. And we had a lot of people that fought in World War II
Yeah.
that, you know, they went and they fought fascists. And they were educated to why fascism was a bad
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, I think that part of it is just time is. I mean, we grew up around World War II veterans. Nobody ever thought that all the Nazis were good because your father, your grandfather, your uncle went out and fought them. Now, I think the later generation, the historical memory gets lost, and it's like, oh, well, that sounded fun, but no, it wasn't fun.
No. I mean, this whole, I bring this up all the time, this Universal Declaration of Human Rights was written after World War II. In December 10th, 1948, it was accepted by the United Nations. And the reason why they wrote it was because of what happened during World War II, the concentration camps, the murder of innocents, Jewish people, they were Christians, they were gypsies, they were all sorts of people that were treated as the other. They might have been called immigrants or whatever, but they weren't treated as human beings.
Right.
And so that's why they came up with this Universal Declaration of Human Rights. It didn't matter. It's not specific to any nationality or gender. It's just a human being. There's certain rights that as human beings we have to respect. And especially providing food.
Yeah, that's definitely comes back to the food. You know, that's how we feel. You come to us, you need food, you get food, and that's how it is. Anybody shows up, we give food. We don't. You know, when we started the pantry, it was like we said we're not going to use the word clients. We call people friends. Because it's the Friendship Center. Right. And you know, I mean, I don't want to boast, but that was my idea to call it the Friendship Center.
That's a good one.
You know, people are friends. And I think we've just, in our society generally, we've just gotten so far away where you know, you're on that side, you're on that side. I can say we have people of different political persuasions who volunteer with us. And you know, it's just like you come in, we don't care. We treat you as an equal, treat you as a friend. I just think that we need more of that in society generally, to just accept people's humanity, whether they're fully documented or not. You know, you're still human beings.
Right. You know, that's. I like to reflect on there's the Thanksgiving address that was that the Mohawk Nation used to use as oral tradition, but it was written down. Someone wrote it down in the 1990s, and the first section is that the recognition that our duty is to live in balance and harmony with the people in the world around us, and we've sort of lost that balance and harmony. You know, you may have differing political views, but you know, if we can act with humility and respect and take care of people's basic needs, you know, and agree to that everyone it deserves respectful treatment. So we don't need ICE. You know, I talked about this before. We had someone come on the show once, and he said, I overstayed my visa once in Ireland. You know, they didn't send armed people to get me. They sent me a letter in the mail.
Oh, I know that story. Yeah, I think it was Michael Hitchcock, right?
Yeah, you're right. It was Michael Hitchcock, because they sent me a letter, and I went home. You know, I left. You know, we don't have to interact with military force on people.
Well, even before, you know, this past January, I mean, they were going through their things, but people weren't, you know, it wasn't like this. It was targeted, it was quiet. I mean, maybe some people were deported who weren't supposed to, but this was not advertised. This was not, and it's a failure. I mean, it's creating chaos all over the country.
I think they're trying to establish fear
Yeah.
amongst people. They want you to be afraid. They don't believe in democratic principles like this. They agree as long as they're in charge.
Right, yeah.
As long as they're in charge, but they don't like to let people participate in this democracy if they don't look like them or think like them.
Well, did you see that they dragged a U.S. citizen out of his home in Minneapolis in his underwear, basically? They threw one of his family members threw a blanket on the poor guy. He was a citizen. And you know, now they're saying we don't really need judicial warrants. We can just sign one ourselves. And I mean, that's nonsense.
It is. It's unconstitutional.
It's unconstitutional. And I don't think, up to this point in my life, it was like if something was unconstitutional, the government stopped it immediately. Now, we might.
Right.
Anyway, I get a little upset sometimes.
Right. My thing, and I've said it in the past 3 shows, I've mentioned that, I've contacted my congressman on many occasions, but the last time that I called Richie Neal's office, I asked the staff member, I said, what's going on in Minneapolis, the killing of Renee Good and Alex Prete, drew the line that all I'm asking is to commence articles of impeachment. And if the congressman doesn't want to do that, it's okay. They should just resign so we can elect someone that will stand up and endorse this Constitution. And if our president or person serving as president does not want to follow those laws, then they should be impeached. Yeah. There's no other repercussion. We can't depend upon the Supreme Court to do anything. It has to be an impeachment procedure.
Well, I hear you, and I would just like to see real investigations. Let Minneapolis investigate these 2 shootings the way it would normally be, in the past, and it always has been, but now let there be full, open, transparent investigations of both these cases. If you don't think it's murder, well, let a jury decide, in each case, but they're not allowing that.
No.
Like Mr. Prete's phone. I mean, the government has his phone. Why don't they give his phone to his family? It's just, anyway, I'll let you.
Yeah, it's something. I mean, we're winding down, I was thinking of just doing that one more song to finish up the show, and then we'll go right into it. I thank you for coming on the show,
sure, Dick, yeah.
And I hope we can do this again. But when we see what's happening in Minneapolis, in the fear of people throughout the country, I've spoken to people, and they're asking us, what do I do? I'm an American citizen, but I am of Filipino descent. I don't look white. I'm from South Korea. I am a citizen, but I'm carrying my passport with me. Who am I supposed to call if ICE comes after me? Who am I gonna call? And that's a scary thought. So I there's a song here. It's called "A Knock on the Door." It's also being done by Ben Grosscup, but it's a Phil Ochs song. Phil Ochs, someone I really appreciate his folk music, but it's called about the knock on the door. So I just want to play that song to end our show and thank everybody for being with us and everybody that made this production possible.
All right, skip up to number 3. Turn your page over. Knock on the door. This song is written by Phil Ochs in the 1960s. The knock on the door is the sound of a desperate empire. Friends, just as the British used the black and tans to repress the Irish population, just as this government uses ICE to repress our population. The knock on the door is the sound of an empire in crisis. An empire that cannot rule because it has nothing to offer to the people. It cannot rule except through brute force of violence. That's because this government, this whole regime that runs our country, Republicans and Democrats, fails to provide the basics, fails to provide health care, fails to provide adequate housing, fails to provide adequate education. That's why this system we live under is applying this kind of violence. We must resist, my friends. Knock on the door. In many a time, in many a land, with many a gun, in many a hand, they came by the night, they came by the day, came with their guns to take us away, with a knock on the door, knock on the door. Here they come to take one more, with a knock on the door, knock on the door. Here they come to take one more. Back in the days of the Roman Empire, they died by the cross and they died by the fire. In the stone Colosseum, the crowd gave a roar, and it all began with a knock on the door. Just a knock on the door, knock on the door. Here they come to take one more. Look up, knock on the door, look at each other. With a knock on the door, knock on the door. Here they come to take one more. The years went by and we reached modern times. The Nazis came with their Nazi war crimes. In the din of silence where freedom had drowned, 11 million people heard the same sound of a knock on the door, knock on the door. Here they come to take one more, with a knock on the door, knock on the door. Here they come to take one more. Now there's many new words and many new names. Uniforms have changed, but the knock is the same. The agents of ICE broadcast their raids. They're trying to make the people afraid of a knock on the door, knock on the door. Here they come to take one more, with a knock on the door, knock on the door. Here they come to take one more, with a knock on the door, knock on the door. Here they come to take one more, with a knock on the door, knock on the door. Here they come to take one more, one more.
Spikes of now sisters in many far off lands.